It's almost coming to the end of the Premier League season, but never fear. We've got a fantastic BoyleSports Betzone this week. Premier League football to talk about and also the FA Cup semi-finals. I'm delighted to say my old mate who hasn't been in for a little while, Chris Perry, former Tottenham and Wimbledon defender. Chris, where you been?
Oh, I've been busy training for the marathon and trying to stay away from you, really.
Well, I'm a bad influence for marathons. You have to run past pubs, didn't you, to do the marathon?
Lots and lots of pubs, yeah. It'd be very difficult for you.
It might take me about 48 hours to do that. I mean, so how's the training going?
Training's going excellently. I'm absolutely flying at the moment. Really looking forward to it now.
Now, tell us who you're doing it for, and if anyone wants to sponsor you, where do they go?
I am running for the Motor Neurone Disease Association, and if they go to my Just Giving site, which is www.justgiving.com/Christopher-Perry3, they can give as much or as little as they want.
Chris, there you go. That's Chris running for a very good cause next Sunday in the London Marathon. And the boys and girls at BoyleSports got a little surprise for Chris at the end of the show. We'll come on to that for the charity element. OK, like I say, it's a massive week in the Premier League and and it's also a massive weekend of FA Cup action. No better place to start than the 5:30 game on Sky Sports. Arguably the biggest game of the season so far. Chelsea even money to win this game against Manchester United. If they win it, they're going to be crowned champions. Even if they lose it, they look like they're going to be crowned champions. It's all there to Man United to win. Can Man United win this game, Chris?
They can. I don't think they will, but they can. And they're certainly coming into the game in a lot better form than Chelsea. Chelsea have looked pretty average. They've drawn 3 of their last 5 at home. They looked really poor against QPR last week and got away with a last-minute win. I think United have got a chance, but I fancy the draw here.
Fancy the draw. Man United have won their last 6 Premier League games. You know, they're coming into a 7, but Chelsea had a great recent record. They've lost just once of their last 12 Premier League home games against Man United. You look at this game, though, there has to be goals. I mean, both teams have scored in 4 of their last 5 games for each side. Chelsea are conceding goals. I mean, spectacular goals like Charlie Adams as well. But it's got to be goals in this game.
Yeah, I think both teams to score is the bet. At 5-6, I think it's a good shout. I think United are scoring loads of goals at the moment, playing some exciting attacking football. Chelsea tend to score at home. They don't score many. They haven't scored more than 2 for a long, long time now, I think since December. But they will score goals. I fancy it. Both teams to score in a draw here.
You say Chelsea on a bit of a blip. They haven't lost in their last 13 games. Lots of draws in that period, but no losses.
No, but they've, as I say, in the last 3 games that they have drawn, they're the only 6 points they've dropped at home all season. It's just been in the last few games that they've started to just sort of limp over the line rather than sprint away from everyone. You
said it would be a draw. You said both teams would score. It's 1-1 early in the season. You expect another similar scoreline?
I do actually, yeah. I fancy the 1-1 draws 11-2, and I'd actually fancy Juan Mata has got 3 goals in 4 times he's played in this fixture. Actually, 2 of them for Chelsea. But going back to his old club, you know, the old player going back, they often score. I fancy Mata any time at 17-4.
Mata's also scored 3 goals and an assist in his last 3 Premier League games, so put him in your fantasy football, and also make sure you back him if you're going to back him on BoyleSports Double Bubble. That gives you the money, gives you double the odds if your first goal scorer scores inside the first 20 minutes in any Premier League game this weekend. And Mata could be a bet there, but Chris, like he says, Chris fancies him to score any time as well. Mata, they probably know Diego Costa as well, so yeah. Mata for Manchester United. We expect both teams to score, and for me, both teams to score in this game is the best bet to play, and also it's part one of my enhanced treble with BoyleSports. Okay, that's a very interesting game, very, very close to call. 5:20 the same time on BBC One. It's the FA Cup semi-final, the first FA Cup semi-final, and it's Arsenal. They're playing Reading. Arsenal are 1-4 to win this game. Now, Chris, you're a man of millions in the bank. It's worth sticking a couple of million on, or whatever you could spare on, and then to win this game at 4-1, isn't it?
You'd think so, yeah. I can't see.
I like you never denied that you didn't have the money in the bank.
I haven't got that much money in the bank, and I wouldn't have a bet at 1-4. I think it's a bit short, but you would be printing money, in my opinion. Reading have a horrific record against Arsenal. You know, they tend to lose every single game. They've played 12, lost 12. They've scored 12 and let in 37 against Arsenal. That's in their whole history, you know. Arsenal are in fantastic form at the moment. They've won their last 8 Premier League games in a row. They're scoring goals for fun. I don't see anything but an Arsenal win. Well,
Arsenal won their last 11 in domestic action. The only defeat was obviously that home defeat against Monaco. Yeah. For Reading, on the flip side, since they made this semi-final, they haven't even won a game. They've only scored 2 goals as well. There's no way. I mean, an Arsenal to 0 looks quite tempting here as well, doesn't it?
Arsenal win to 0. I've actually written that down at evens. I think it is good money. I think Arsenal are looking fairly good defensively. Again, they'll score goals. I think Olivier Giroud's got 12 in his last 14 games. I fancy him for first goal scorer. if he plays. I would check the teams before you do that, because you never know, Arsenal may make a few changes.
Yeah, BoyleSports have got a special in this game. It's money back as a free bet if Giroud scores the last goal. That's offered exclusive to mobile players on the BoyleSports mobile. So you get on your mobile phone now, and if you want to play on Giroud, money back on markets if Giroud scores the last goal. We say about Arsenal to win to nil. The last 3 meetings between these two sides, 24 goals were scored, and both teams have scored in every single one.
Yeah, but that was back when Arsenal had a little bit more of a dodgy defence. As you say, recently they've done fairly well defensively. You know, they seem to have settled on Bellerin at right back, and Koscielny's playing well now back in the side. I think they'll probably bring in Paulista for Mertesacker. I'll be surprised if Mertesacker plays, but they've won all 3 games where Koscielny and Paulista have played. So it's looking good for Arsenal. I think Arsenal to nil's a decent bet. I actually fancy Arsenal -2 on the handicap here at 7-4.
So a very comfortable win for Arsenal, and Chris, I couldn't disagree with him there. Arsenal to win to nil does interest me at even money, despite the record they have. Reading just don't score any goals, and Steve Clarke is probably one of the most defensive coaches and managers in the Football League. So an Arsenal win to nil for both of us here, but not too convincing for me to put in the weekend treble. Okay, Sunday 1:30, moving on to Sunday, only 2 games on the Saturday. Back in the Premier League now, Manchester City they host West Ham. Now, these 2 clubs are in absolute turmoil all over the place. 2 managers who I believe very strongly will not be in charge of their respective sides at the start of the Premier League. But however much you jazz it up, I could not back Man City at 4-1 on against anybody the way they're playing and the way the turmoil is in the club at the moment.
I don't know. I think if you want to play anyone at the moment, it's West Ham. They're awful. Newcastle or West Ham. They're 2 teams, middle of the table, absolutely nothing to play for. West Ham's record against Man City is horrible. They've won 1 of 14 Premier League meetings at Manchester City, whether that's at the Etihad or at Main Road. City are unbeaten in their last 8 against West Ham, winning 7 of them. City have won the last 5 in a row. I just don't see anything but a City win here.
But there's problems in the camp. I mean, there's obviously not playing for the manager. Torre wants out. Aguero's not scoring. 4-1 on about this side. I mean, the way they fell apart against Man City, I mean, they should win, but I think if there's one of them bets that you just watch on the telly, you don't want to ever get involved.
I certainly wouldn't have a bet at 1-4, without a doubt. No, I think you can't. But there's other ways to go here. A City winning over the 2.5 goals is at 4-6, which I think is half decent. City -1 on the handicap again, 4-6. But you know, you can't back anything for West Ham. They've won none of their last 8 Premier League away games. You know, only 1 of their last 10 in the Premier League. West Ham are just
gone.
Got the 40 points, got safe, switched off.
Only 1 win in their last 11 for West Ham, just 2 wins in the last 8 for Man City. It's a clash against 2 sides in total bad form and total disarray. Chris has found you a bet, Man City to win and over 2.5 goals, which probably looks a better angle than back in the 1-4 for me. I think there's better options out there on the Premier League this weekend and also in the FA Cup. And one of them is in the 3 o'clock game on Sunday, and it's Aston Villa against Liverpool. It's BT Sport now. It's the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley again. Liverpool are the favourites here at 8-13. Aston Villa 5-1, 3-1, a little bit 31-10 to draw. Villa in absolutely fine form after their 2-0 win against Tottenham. Their Premier League survival looks assured, and I think they go here, no pressure on, and I think they give Liverpool one hell of a game.
I think this is going to be a great game. This is going to be, for me, forget Chelsea Man United, that could be a little bit boring. Chelsea a little bit negative at the moment. This could be the game of the weekend for me, Villa-Liverpool. I think Villa are in a great run of form. It's a big semi-final. They're going to be right up for it, you know. They're in good form at the moment. Christian Benteke is scoring goals for fun, 8 in his last 6. I fancy Villa to come here and at least get a draw.
Yeah, I mean, Christian Benteke scored 12 goals already this season, and 9 of those games have been in his last 8 games. 9 of those goals have been in his last 8 games. It is what Sherwood does. He did with Adebayor. He gets the best out of his players. He makes them feel good, and he's going to cause problems for that leaky Liverpool defence.
You know, they've had massive trouble at centre back all season. Skirtle, I don't know if he can play or not. Obviously, he's been suspended recently. Lovren's been an absolute disaster. Kolo Touré looked awful when he played a couple of weeks ago. I think he will cause problems, and I fancy Villa to definitely score in this game.
Now, we fancied Villa here to get something from the game. I like Villa double charge, which is the second part of my enhanced treble. But the boys and girls at BoyleSports are giving you a fantastic offer in this one. Money back as a free bet if Liverpool fail to qualify. Now, that offer is exclusive to mobile punters. So if Liverpool fail to qualify to the final, which me and Chris think is a real possibility, you get your money back. And I think that's a fantastic offer.
That is an absolutely superb bet, absolutely.
Villa obviously won at Anfield earlier this season 1-0. Liverpool won at Villa Park 2-0. But Villa have a much better record against Liverpool when they're big underdogs. And they're big underdogs today. And I think this is a big bit. What score are we going to go for? Well, what's your best bet here? My
best bet here, I'm going for the draw. I reckon it'll be a 1-1 draw in the 90 minutes, which you can get Benteke first goal scorer and a 1-1 draw at 35-1.
35-1, I like a bit of that. I like Villa double chance 11-8, and I certainly like Benteke to find them there at any time. Okay, Sunday at 4 o'clock, final game we're going to look ahead to. It's the, well, really, is there any point of talking about this? It's 4 o'clock, Newcastle against Tottenham, your former club, Chris. Both of these sides really got absolutely nothing to play for. Tottenham can't make Champions League. They're going to be in the Europa League, and Newcastle, well, what is going on there? Totally a disarray. They've only won one of their last 8 Premier League games. This is a non-event for me.
Well, yeah, they've won one of their last 8. Spurs have only won 3 of their last 8 since beating Arsenal in February. This is a game that is only on TV because the FA Cup's on and there are only other good teams playing at the moment. You know? Spurs, as you say, they're going to be in the Europa League. They look as though they're cruising towards the end of the season, but I still think they'll have enough to win this game.
Newcastle have lost their last 5 games, as we said there, with only scoring 1 goal, and Tottenham have gone 202 minutes now without an away goal in the Premier League. This match is a match that historically produces loads of goals. Well, in this form, under 2.5 goals looks like certainty.
Yeah, you fancy under 2.5, don't you? I mean, I don't fancy under 2.5. I fancy over 2.5 just because I don't see Spurs keeping a clean sheet, and I do fancy them to win. So I've gone for Spurs to win 5-4. I think is a decent bet. Spurs a win and over 2.5 is actually 12-5.
Well, just do the Spurs bit. Don't worry about the over 2.5 goal. Go the under 2.5 goals. The stats are saying Newcastle just aren't scoring goals. If they're not winning attackers, and Harry Kane is not scoring goals. And if you're looking for the double bubble, Harry Kane is the only man really you can make a case for. But he hasn't scored. This will be the 3rd consecutive game he hasn't scored.
He's due then, isn't he?
Which he hasn't done all season. So if you look for the first score, look at Harry Kane. Anyway, Chris disagrees with me on this one, but this is my enhanced treble on the final part. Anyway, this is my enhanced treble with the guys at BoyleSports, and it's available now on the BoyleSports website. It's got Chelsea and Man United, both teams to score as a yes from me. Aston Villa, double chance for Liverpool. So that means Aston Villa or the draw.
I agree with those two.
And the final one is under 2.5 goals in Newcastle v Tottenham, which you don't agree with me, but you're going to have to agree with me because those lovely people, the boys and girls at BoyleSports, have given us a £100 free bet on this treble to give to your charity for your run next week on the London Marathon.
Well, you know, I will bow to your superior knowledge, but you've been absolutely on fire throughout the whole season. I've been pretty awful, let's be honest. So we'll go with your tip and we'll hope it comes in for the charity. Thank you very much to BoyleSports.
And again, Chris, if anyone wants to follow you and your fundraising page, what have they got to do?
Just go to my Just Giving page, www.justgiving.com, Christopher-Perry3.
There you go. One thing he can beat me on is doing the marathons, but one thing I'm betting him at is tipping winners. So hopefully we'll have £800 towards the charity for motor neuron disease from the lovely guys and girls at BoyleSports. That's been the Betzone. See you all next week.